those of you that feel adventurous, you might be in the right place, because yes, the PC hardware market is being flooded with tons of different AIO liquid coolers. So I've picked yet another more exotic option out of the bunch and decided to put it through its paces for you. This is the Eskimo Junior 36 by the brand Geometric Future. Obviously, this is an all-in-one solution with a 360mm radiator featuring ARGB lighting along with some pretty elegant looks. A few things here have been done even better than on some of the more well-known established units out there. But needless to say, there certainly are a few drawbacks as well. In terms of pricing, today's Eskimo Junior 36 slides in somewhere in the range of $140 to $150 US, which is neither exceptionally high nor low. So here comes the question: is this AIO unit any good for you, or should you just skip it? As for what comes included, not one bit can be considered spectacular by any means. You basically get all you need, well, except for a manual, that is. Such for some reason hasn't been included with my specific sample. Maybe they accidentally forgot about it. Besides the AIO unit, you can expect 3 120mm fans, both fan and ARGB splitter cables, as well as a bag with all the mounting hardware, including some thermal paste. But Geometric Future was kind enough to also include a small, nice and magnetic ARGB controller equipped with 2 3-pin connections. The lighting of the pump unit is to be connected the usual way, our standard 5V 3-pin connectors, which certainly is nice. The fans, on the other hand, come with these 3-pin semi-proprietary connectors, but these are fairly common nowadays. Of course, due to those short cables, we should use the fitting splitter and extension cables. As so often, we are yet again dealing with the usual mix of an aluminum radiator with copper on the other end, namely the pump. Everything seems to be well made though. In a few spots, we get a better impression quality-wise with this unit here than seen on some of the more renowned models out there. We can, for instance, even rejoice about metal fittings here, both on the radiator and pump unit, even though these mainly serve a sheer cosmetic purpose. They've gone with their own fairly squarish Squama 2503B fans that sure appear quite exotic and do impress when it comes to quality. I really like them a lot. However, the pump unit, or rather water block, might attract even more attention. This one isn't just fairly large, but sports that gorgeous mirrored look and is wrapped elegantly in aluminum alloy if we want to sound all classy. That design certainly counts to one of my favorites out there in the market, along with those Enermax water blocks. The subtle ARGB lighting really captures one's attention nicely, albeit it's all just a matter of personal preference. But let's get a bit more technical. For one, the Eskimo Junior 36 comes with 450mm long rubber tubing, which happen to be nylon braided to achieve some extra stiffness, as well as that usual premium feel. The pump in itself can spin up to 2,800 RPM and is capable of a flow rate of up to 1.4 liters per minute. As so often, they've gone with a ceramic bearing. Worth noting, in my opinion, is that a large number of CPU sockets are being supported, among those not just the new Intel LJ1700 socket, but even STRX4 by AMD. Additionally, AMD more or less has promised us that CPU coolers compatible with the current AM4 socket will also work without any issues with the upcoming AM5 socket. Now, even though there was no manual included with my specific sample, I didn't run into the slightest issues when it comes to mounting this liquid cooler onto my test system, since all those plastic bags are nicely labeled. Therefore, it was incredibly straightforward. Actually, maybe even shockingly simple and fast. But at the end of the day, it comes down to one main thing, and that is cooling performance. As always, I'll be testing with my toasty AMD Ryzen 7 3800X processor. The following are my results. To be honest with you, hardly any AIO liquid cooler is able to offer us any real surprises nowadays. Most 360mm units more or less perform equally as well, the differences being very minimal, which on the one hand could also be viewed as a good thing, because once you drop below that usual performance level, you know instantly that you're dealing with a bad AIO. Nonetheless, conducting all those tests turns out to be a bit boring in the long run, I am aware of that. By now, one pretty much knows beforehand what kind of performance is to be expected from a given AIO. So in the end, you basically have to judge and differentiate between aesthetics and noise levels. Speaking of the latter, the noise levels, the fans when set to their max RPM can be a bit loud. However, they can easily be dialed back so that they're barely audible anymore. I do have to point out though that the pump doesn't operate super quietly in all of its speed ranges. Although with the correct adjustments, you'll easily discover the golden mean to achieve the best of both worlds, noise levels and performance. Once you hear a slight scratching sound, that is if that's even the right term to describe it, you should slightly increase or decrease the pump speed. So in terms of noise levels, today's Eskimo Junior 36 doesn't make the adjustments as convenient as certain other units by the competition. Absolute beginners might find fiddling around with the fan and pump speeds a bit overwhelming, although fine-tuning and dealing with these kind of adjustments simply is part of the AIO liquid cooling experience. So I don't see any reason why I couldn't recommend the geometric future Eskimo Junior 36. At a price of $140 to $150, we're looking at fairly realistic pricing. It's just a shame that availability isn't looking great yet. With that being said, thank you so much for watching everyone, and until the next video.